What's up, Ray? You all right?
Junkie, pre-event chat. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I jumped onto the pre-event chat because I got the United game in 5 minutes. I got to go watch that. So I just wanted to come on and say hi, Dan. Sorry you're going to miss this, but I just saw your record. It's just fantastic. So I'm
Let's
just
get let's
absolutely
get
brilliant.
let's get let's get Dan in before you go. Dan, I've just invited you, pal. Mr. Bennett. I
Mr.
don't think he's
Bennett.
Mr. Bennett. There's been a lot of fantastic buzz about this one. There's
Oh,
been so many
absolutely, man.
questions.
Because
So
I started watching these spaces, participating in spaces about a couple of weeks back, and I've heard about Dan
yeah,
Bennett being so under, unfollowed, underfollowed, and people
ridiculous.
don't know much
Yeah.
about him.
I'm
So,
I'm I'm Dan's hype boy. Good evening, Mr. Bennett.
Good evening, guys.
hey, good evening, Dan. You all right?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to this.
Good, good, good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Junkie, what I'm gonna do is I'm
hmm
gonna put you back as a listener and obviously come in and out when you can. Okay?
No, I'm just gonna go now. So I
Okay,
just wanted
bud.
to say I'm gonna bounce. And Dan, on a wild card, would you say Vardy or Son? Before I
Um,
go,
I would say Sun.
Son. That's who I have on my team now. Thanks a lot. I'll see you
Enjoy
guys
the
later.
game.
Yeah, enjoy the
God bless,
spaces.
Junkie.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Cheers.
See ya. How are you, Dan?
Pretty nervous.
Yeah.
I obviously, you know, I I consume so much FPL content, but I don't often talk about FPL. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Absolutely, Javed. I'm not opening it up yet, pal, until we go through the questions. So I'm just wanted to start the space up early so we can get some people in, and I can try and pick Dan's brain a little bit.
Javed's the only guy whose spaces I've previously been
Okay.
on their FPL dialogue.
Mm,
Yeah, he's a good
yeah.
guy.
You know,
Very
he
good
was
guy.
he was he was kind enough to yeah, he was kind enough to reach out to me just today and wish me luck and everything. And he also advised me that you're on his spaces as well. So what we'll do is while we're getting people kind of joining, we'll get Dan and them lot in, the other Dan as well. So that should be a lot of fun when I'm saying Dan.
Yeah,
I'll probably just say Bennett. Are you all right with that? And then you'll
yeah,
know it's you.
that's cool. Yeah, take me back to my school days. All right, Bennett.
Exactly. Bennett.
Yeah.
But how are you, man? How's your preparation been for game week 9?
I've probably not consumed as much as I usually do. The wild card was not a huge success immediately. I know
Mm.
we shouldn't just judge it on one game week, but yeah, it wasn't brilliant. So I have turned off a little bit the last couple of days. Um, just to clear my head a bit. But yeah, I'm hopeful for game week 9. The team looks in good shape.
Yeah,
How
I
about
mean,
you? You've had a great start to the season.
yeah, it's very educational because it's my third season. So
Okay.
the first season I finished about just inside 300k. Last season I finished about 33k, and then this season, yeah, I'm very happy. I kind of felt just on statistics and looking at my pattern last season is at this point last season I was like 1.9 million or something like no 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 I think I was higher like 2.5 million, and I think it took me a while to understand what kind of FPL manager I am. And by the time I kind of thought, okay, well, be a bit more risk averse, Ray, and maybe be differential with some of the, you know, not in the positions that could really be detrimental to your rank. Like don't captain Martial, which I did last season, which when I look at it is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever captained Martial.
Well, there you go. I mean, that explains a lot about the record. So I realized by the end of last season, between February and the end of the season, I went up like 700,000 places. And it was just being safe, going with the template captain. Gundogan, I kind of hopped on there quite early where he was returning. So to be about 117 now at this point of the season, I think is a good spot to be in. And
Yes, definitely.
yeah, because I've been a dream team player all these years. You know, the Sun Dream Team. So
Okay. Yeah.
I've been playing that since 2004 and got 3 top 3K finishes. And currently I'm 250 in the world. So I know how to
Very
play
nice.
that game. I know what you want to do and when you want to hop on, and you want to you want to pick the big teams who are in Europe early on and then start to transition into a more balanced squad. And something I realized, Dan, always, I think throughout the 17 years, I've never spent more than 30 minutes a week on my dream team. Yet on this, I think I spend 2 hours, 3 hours a day. Can you explain, please, why I do that? Is it the
It's
data?
strange, isn't it? I don't know what it is. It's just an addiction. It really is an addiction. I just love it. I've never played many other formats of the game. I started playing Fan Team last year, and I did quite well in that. I won one of the monthly prizes of €1,000.
Fantastic.
So that was pretty nice. But that's obviously, it's a very similar game to FPL. And this season as well, for the first time, I started a Sky fantasy team just for a bit of fun.
Okay.
I've had a terrible start in that. I don't think I've got the time to dedicate to multiple games. So I'm just sticking with FPL and Fan Team.
Yeah. I last season I got a bit too loosey goosey and went like 6 games, and it was ridiculous. And then I only focused on FPL and the Sun, and I'm like, look, you've been a Sun player all your life, and now you've been FPL, so yeah, just stick to 2. But so Dan, I'd like to introduce you to Dan. Dan, listen,
Hey, Dan.
how are you, man?
Hello, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
How are you, mate?
Yes, good, thanks. Just Ray just warming me up.
Yeah, I've been listening. Ray, how are you, bud?
I'm very well, Dan. Yeah, always good that we've got, obviously we do a spaces together, and yeah, it's starting to pick up now, so I think we can kind of start. But what we'll do, Dan, is we will call our guest Bennett, just taking him back to school. So,
Lovely.
Yeah, I think it could get confusing otherwise. Yeah,
exactly. So,
I said to Ray, I was listening to your space last week, I think it was, and you kept mentioning Dan, and I kept looking down, expecting Ray wanted me to talk. I was getting confused.
So how are we going to work this? So, Ray, when you say Dan, which Dan we saying?
Like I said, I'll say Bennett. I'll just say his surname,
and I'll be simple Dan.
You'll just be Dan, as I know and love you. So I think
Thank you,
I think we're gonna start. So a bit like last week, just to break the ice a bit. Dan, would it be alright if you mute, please, pal? We'll go with a word association game. So Bennett, you unmute.
I already got confused.
So by the way, guys, thank you all for joining. This is a Game Week 9 chat with Dan Bennett, and courtesy of the FPL Way. And also, if you like, kind of sponsored by the Fantasy Football Fix, where if you go to our website, you'll be able to apply the 65% discount. So, I mean, that's a lot. So we got a specific discount code there. So by all means, just go there. And funnily enough, Bennett, is you're actually the part of the elite feature on the website. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it's really interesting, actually. Yeah, I got Tom, who's listening now, to thank for that. Yeah, he reached out, and Fix have always got so many exciting ideas for new features. And when he approached me about this one, I took a couple of days to think about it, but yeah, I did jump at the chance. It's been great. It's been interesting because obviously people are a lot more interested in my moves now, which before it was just me. So it is interesting how that has affected my decision making so far. I've tried not to let it impact me, but I think it has a little. But yeah, that's really exciting working with Fix, and they've got so many fantastic tools. It's a great site.
100%. Fully advocate it. And also Tom is, we've only recently been communicating, but seems like a really, really solid guy. So, right, let's get started. So we'll do the little word association game I did last week, and I felt that helped. So I'm going to call out just singular words, and then I want your first opinion or your the first thought that goes through your head. It can be FPL, life, whatever you want. You ready, buddy?
Okay, I'm ready.
Troll.
Mahrez.
That's a good one.
Multiple times. I always suckered back in.
Hype train. Or bandwagon.
Good one. Maybe Brentford boys.
Okay.
Mbomo and Tony.
Okay. Pain.
I don't want to say Mahrez again.
You can duplicate answers if you want.
Just bad game week. It's pain.
Pleasure.
Good one. I'm trying to think FPL, but you said I don't have to think FPL, do you?
It's 8 p.m. now, so you could say as you please.
Yeah, my wife's actually in the other room trying to fix the boiler. I'm going to say her cooking. She's a very good cook.
Fantastic. Look at that, guys. If you are married or to be married or have a girlfriend or boyfriend or husband, then it's always good to compliment something like that. It's always good brownie points. Ain't that right, Bennett?
Exactly. Ray knows.
Yeah, I should. So excellent. So now that we've got all Lucy and stuff like that, guys, I just shared a tweet of Mr. Bennett's record. So I think in 14 seasons, he's had 9 top 10K finishes and is currently the Hall of Fame number 12. So it's absolutely brilliant, Dan. So before we get into the questions, what would you say kind of keeps you consistent with those kind of numbers? Because I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. And what makes you stay so consistent all the time? Because it's very difficult to be consistent in this game.
It is. I think patience is probably key. I'm a very patient person in general, but and even more so since having 2 kids, you've got to have God level of patience when you've got kids. They drive you crazy if you've got to have a lot of patience. So I think it's just patience. It's a long game. It is a game, but it's being played over 9 months, whatever it is. So yeah, I've got friends who play the game. They play it, I guess, more to enjoy week to week, so that they'll take a few hits just to enjoy it, bring in players, and if their player scores, it's a big high for them. They want that immediate high. Whereas for me, I just want the high at the end of the season. I think I'm patient enough to wait for that high. And the other thing is, I guess I enjoy the journey. I enjoy, researching, listening to content, picking the players. So I think if you enjoy the journey, it's the highs and lows of your scores each week are sort of secondary. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Dan, maybe I can bring you in for that, man. Like, do you kind of get what Bennett is saying?
Yeah, 100%. First of all, I just want to say, mate, that's just nine times top 10K finishes. It's just incredible. Ray was telling me last night, actually, I was just thought we both were kind of just like blown away. And it's definitely not luck. It's, for me, 9 times. That's skill, and consistency is just fantastic. So well done, mate. That's brilliant.
Cheers, Dan. Yeah, it's I guess I do try to since I started racking up the 10Ks, I guess it is sort of an aim of mine each season.
Mm.
I know our aim should be to win FPL, but it's such a long shot.
Yeah.
I get a high from just those consistent 10Ks. It just
So how do you manage that consistency every season? How do you manage it?
I'm trying to look at my notes here. I wrote some notes earlier.
I'm looking at my notes, mate. Well, yeah.
Dan, Bennett, I'm making notes. While you
I'm making notes. I've got 3 screens here.
Who asked the original consistency question? Do you remember?
Funny enough, I think we'll go to the questions, but I asked that prior to seeing FPL Trophy ask a question, Mo, who's like a friend. So I kind of nicked his question. So apologies about that, Mo. You haven't joined yet, but I'm sure you will. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could really transition to the next point of how do you deal with bad game weeks, Bennett? Because it happens and it's definitely a challenging time. So how do you deal with the bad game weeks?
I think it probably comes back to what I was saying a second ago. Because I mean, I had a bad game week this game week, following a wild card, another red arrow. So the immediate thing I do these days is just put the phone away. As I mentioned, 2 kids, spend some time with them, forget about FPL. I think that's the easiest thing to do. But then also, as I mentioned, I enjoy the process of FPL. So even when the results or the outcomes of my decisions aren't brilliant, not what I expected, I've still had a good time consuming all this content, and I know next week there's another chance to go again. I can consume more content, enjoy talking to more people about FPL. So I do find it easier to get over bad game weeks these days than I used to.
Excellent. And maybe the third part of that question, even though I nicked the first one, was what percentage breakdown would you say is eye test versus stats? I guess that's the best way of breaking down that question. Eye test versus stats. What kind of percentage do you think leans to what?
So I don't know when you want me to talk about a bit more detail about my general playing style, but I should probably start by saying I watch very little football. I'll probably watch Match of the Day on a Sunday morning if I can wrestle the remote from the kids for an hour, but that's about it. So eye test is a very low percentage for me. I obviously get I obviously get some secondhand eye test from some of the content creators that talk about what they've seen in the games. But yeah, so I generally lean towards the stats. It's probably quite heavy in terms of stats, probably 95%, just because I watch so little football. I mean, I love football. It just doesn't fit with my work, home life. I just can't fit it in. So yeah, definitely heavily stats over eye test for me.
Excellent. We'll move on to FPL Andy Pandy, who is in this. So good evening. Numbers are a little bit maybe low, but I think it's just because of the football. We've got Man U and Chelsea playing, so I understand that. But thank you all for joining us. And even if it doesn't grow, got some quality people in here. And not a lot of them I know, really class people. And that's more important to me than great FPL managers. Is they all seem like top individuals. So, Andy Pandy, what's the one popular piece of information Dan usually ignores? So, is it price predictions, Opta stats, XG? Is there any kind of, I guess, popular bit of information that goes around that you just feel, I don't want any of that?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I had tough thinking about this one. I'm not really sure I've got a good answer. I try to be as open to as much information as possible. But I think one thing I ignore a lot that I probably should take more account of is form. I'll probably touch on it more in a bit, but I'm heavily fixtures orientated. So form, I don't give it much credit, as much credit as I probably should, and I think that can be quite detrimental, missing out on some form players when they're going on their hot streaks. For example, last week I bought on my wildcard, I bought Armstrong, which was purely a fixtures play rather than a form play. So I think form, I bin it off, but I probably shouldn't. I should probably pay a little bit more attention to form.
Okay, excellent. I guess if you were watching more football, it might possibly sway you, isn't it, in regards to form?
Yeah.
But as you focus more on the stats, then I guess you're a lot more, is it fair to say, cynical when it comes to picking your assets, more around fixtures?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely analyse the fixtures. That's how I started playing the game back in 2008, I think it was. All I really focused on back then was fixtures and transfers in and out. So yeah, very much fixtures player.
Fantastic.
I see
So guys,
FPL
if you
Salah
want to
just joined us. Thanks for listening,
Abdul. Yeah.
What a legend.
Top guy. Yeah, he's a really good guy. And yeah, he's apparently a good FPL player, but just brought our teams in there. Guys, before we move on, please make sure to follow Dan Bennett. Really good guy from a lot of individuals I've spoken to, and a superb FPL player. So please make sure to follow him. Please follow myself, follow Dan, the founder of the FPL Way, follow Fantasy Silver, Nathan, who's a co-founder of the FPL Way, and our website's just amazing because of him. Great graphics, great front end, and a lot of really, really good tools coming up as well. So please make sure to do that. Would really appreciate it. If we move on to Mo, we covered your question, pal. But basically, the main thing is that Dan really goes by statistics and doesn't watch that much football. So, guys, if you want to be great FPL players, stop watching football. Is that what you're trying to say, Bennett?
It works for me. Let's put it that way.
Class. All right. We'll go to Tom Brown from The Fix. I don't think he's in the chat right now, but he'll probably join a bit later. How many game weeks ahead do you plan for?
It's generally 6 game weeks, maybe. I think like most managers. I like to use a transfer planner. I work with spreadsheets all day, every day. So I used to make my own transfer planners back in the day, but I tend to just use a ready-made one these days. There's some really good ones out there. But I also like to get the pen and paper out, plan that way, the old school. I don't really look too much further than 6 game weeks. I guess I'll just have the big fixture swings in mind. But yeah, your team can change quite a bit within 6 game weeks, and if you're always planning just like those 6 game weeks ahead, that's always put me in a good place.
That's brilliant. Before we go to the second part of the question, Dan, is there anything else you wanted to add around that?
Yeah, I'm the same with Dan, really, regards of planning ahead, and that's 6 game weeks I plan ahead. And this year, this season is my first season using a transfer planner, and I've been using Ben Quillen's one. I'm sure we all know him, and just brilliant. Actually, I think it's really made a difference to plan ahead, especially with my wildcard planning as well. So yeah, I think the transfer plan has been really effective this season. I'm seeing a lot more. I'm hearing a lot more. I feel, but no, I agree with you, Dan.
Fantastic. The second part of Tom's question is, do you have any FPL superstitions, Bennett? Is there anything you kind of do consistently or don't do?
Yeah, there's been lot of talk recently about the superstition of not captaining a player in the early kickoff, but I've never let that sway me. The answer I come up with for this, I don't want to encourage gambling. I watched the Paul Merson documentary recently about gambling, and that was an eye opener. But my biggest FPL superstition is probably placing a bet on a player that I've just transferred out. So I'm tempted to transfer out Mahrez this week. He was sort of my 1 week punt on wildcard, and if I do that, I'll probably stick a fiver on him scoring a brace at the weekend, something like that. So yeah, that's one of my superstitions.
Okay, I might bring in Mahrez and captain him then. Yeah?
Just my luck.
Excellent, very good. So let's go on to FPL Salah. So Abdul, we're to your questions now, pal. So what's Dan's playing style and how has he adapted over the years?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I watch very little football, and I just love planning the fixtures. I'm very much a planner. So I'll plan the fixture swings and my targets in a spreadsheet, as we've talked about the planner. And that's how I started out all those years ago. And I think my first full season, I finished 31k. If you go check out my writing history, my first season, I think it was outside the top million, but I didn't start playing until I think it was December. I think one of the questions later on is how did I get into FPL? So I'll save that for later. And then I started sort of using the likes of Scout, and people remember FISO, and reading forums, articles, listening to the Scoutcast. And then via those, you sort of get talking to more engaged managers, and which ultimately led to my run of top 10k finishes. But then in recent years, we've obviously had an explosion of FPL content, and the number of FPL managers has increased drastically. So it's become more and more difficult to get those really high rank finishes. So my general strategy these days is consume a lot of FPL content and then use my experience to select the best moves for my team based on all the stats, opinions I've read and heard. We all love the game. We're all addicted. We all spend an obscene amount of time researching, discussing FPL. But there's usually week to week. There's usually very little decisions to actually make. I think we just love talking about it, but generally, there's not that many decisions to make. So it's quite a simple game at its essence. We just we love to overcomplicate it. So I guess general strategy, I consume so much content, YouTube videos, articles, and then from there I just sort of I build an opinion from all these different opinions that I'm hearing. I sort of use my experience then to gauge what's the best move for my team. So it's probably not an answer that people expect, but given I watch very little football, I think it's proved successful so far.
Yeah, prior to the spaces, I was talking a bit to Bennett, and he kind of said to me, Ray, I'm not gonna, it's not gonna be anything exciting and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, but this isn't theatre, pal. We're not on the stage and kind of doing a song and dance. A lot of people are very much interested in your the way you play.
Yeah.
That's led to fantastic finishes, and
I think
maybe not being exciting is the way to do it. If that makes sense.
I mean, if you listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of the managers who are high on the Hall of Fame when they do these kind of spaces podcasts, and their answers are pretty much usually the same, aren't they? That to be consistent, you have to be a bit boring. There's obviously more fun ways to play the game, but I do like to I do get the most fun from those end of season high rank finishes.
Brilliant. And he also said his record is one of the best ever. So Abdul's just dropped out. But yeah, it's a phenomenal record, Bennett. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. So we'll go on to FPL Slizzy, Aidan, a friend of ours. And this is the biggest question out of all of them, Dan. You know, we're talking about FPL and all this crap, but let's talk about desserts. So sweet or savory?
I was happy when Slizzy put this one in. So an easy one. This got a very sweet tooth. Yeah, I love a sponge pudding and custard. Yeah, any hot sweet,
Beautiful.
hot sweet. Yeah.
Dan, you sweet or savory?
Oh. Right, first of all, I got a bit of breaking news before I answer this question. So Lukaku's just come off injured, ankle injury.
What?
So, Dan, you might have a lot to think about because you've got Saka, Mahrez, Lukaku, Armstrong. Right, before I now get into the dessert, I'm more of a spotted dick, but I do like.
Sorry, it never gets old. I'm a child.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I do like it though. What's the called? Apple crumble. I'm a bit of an apple crumble man.
Oh yes, very nice.
That's naughty, really naughty.
Fantastic. I'm a creme brulee guy. If there's creme brulee on the menu, it's over. Legit, it's over. You know, it's like, hi sir, are you full? I'm like, do you have creme brulee? Yes, we do. I'm not full anymore. That's legit the conversation we have. So we'll move on to FF Cami, who was on here, but he popped off. Is okay, it's very specific now. This question is what to do with Jota, Bennett. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I brought in Jota in game week 4 as part of a -8. I was unusual for me. It was a week. Yeah, we all, well, a lot of us got in Ronaldo, and I could have gone straight to sort of Sarr, which would have been a sensible play, but I just fancied Jota. But it obviously didn't work out. He squandered all those multiple chances against Leeds and Palace, I think it was. But if you do still have him, I assume FF Cami does, then I think if you don't have Rafinha or Mbomo, I think I'd probably move to one of those this week. We've got some nice fixtures coming up, both of those. And I think Jota, he's obviously a great player, but I don't think it's the time for him right now. I think if you have already got Rafinha and Mbomo, you could maybe try going up to Son or Foden, or the popular picks. That's if you've got the cash in the bank. The only other option I come up with was maybe Mount, but that's purely fixture based. I think what's Chelsea got? Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley. I mean, you couldn't ask for better 3 fixtures.
Yeah, what a time for Lukaku to pull up, huh? Just when we get that goal.
I can't believe
I basically
that.
wildcarded around him. I wildcarded around him.
Has anyone got a wild card spare?
Yeah, there might be a few here. Brilliant. Let's go on to Therapy FPL. Usually always on the spaces, but unavailable right now.
They're all planning what to do with Lukaku.
Yeah, they're all scurrying and obviously watching the games. But this is from Therapy FPL, my Norwegian brother. But this was based on a space we did with Blonde and G just yesterday. So Blonde, good evening. Great to have you on the space. So this question is actually around what you shared, Blonde, which was how do you prevent yourself from becoming lazy and just following the template created by content creators and the Twitter sphere? So basically, there's so much content and stuff around, and there's so much information and material that we have available to us quite easily now, that it could be very simple to just say, oh, well, such and such said, bring in this player, so I'll just bring him in, rather than doing your own, self kind of research and analysis. It seems like you do everything yourself. So how do you prevent becoming, I don't want to say lazy, but maybe herd following? Maybe that's a better way of describing it.
Well, as I say, again, perhaps this is not a popular opinion, but I don't mind following the template. I don't know if we I think I touched on, I'm a very risk averse person. I work in insurance, so I'm all about mitigating risks, and the template is usually the least risky way to accumulate points. Certain players are obvious picks because they're the best picks. I don't generally go out of my way to bring in differentials for the sake of it. I think to do that effectively, you maybe have to use the eye test. Maybe spot a player who's high on confidence and about to come into some form. And as we discussed, I don't watch enough football to be able to do that. In terms of avoiding too much sway from any particular bubble, I do try to listen to a variety of content. I'll mix it up each week. There's so much content to get through. You can't listen to it. It'll consume it all. I like seeking out some of the smaller upcoming content creators. I watched a couple of videos recently from, I think it was the Fantasy Pavilion, which I enjoyed. Javed was on there. So yeah, I guess I probably do follow the herd quite a lot. But for me, I don't see it as a bad thing. I mean, it leads to some high finishes. It's obviously not everyone's cup of tea, and some people won't get the enjoyment that way. But yeah, that's my style.
Okay, brilliant. So the next question we actually have is from the FPL Penguin, and another great question, really. But he asks everyone this, and he's a really top guy. Actually, we've DM'd a couple of times. Really, really good guy. So I think he'll be doing spaces soon. I ask everyone this. Lol. Rank your favorite FPL chips from favorite to least fave.
Okay, so wild card. We love the wild card, don't we? what a disaster that was last week. But yeah, wild card. If we counted wild card as a chip, I think that's got to be my favourite. I played it over the international break this week. You got 2 weeks of tinkering, and I just love it. It's just although the outcome's obviously not what we wanted, it's I'm sure we've got better game weeks and green hours to come. So yeah, the way I plan, my team's never really in a state that I need a wild card. So I tend to target the first wild card around some sort of big fixture swing, like we saw with City and Chelsea. And then the second wild card, I'll probably play around the double game weeks towards the end of the season. And next, I do like the free hit chip. It just helps us navigate those big blank game weeks, doesn't it? It means you can sort of navigate those without having to make lots of transfers in the lead up to get those players just for a blank game week that you wouldn't otherwise want. So I do think that's the free hit chip's very valuable. And then next, I'd probably say triple captain chip. Had some really good success and some failures in the past when playing that on a double game week. And then bottom of the pile, I really don't like the bench boost chip. I'm not a huge fan of it. I generally like having a cheap bench, and to play the bench boost effectively, you obviously need 15 playing players, which means you've got less cash in your 11. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the bench boost.
Brilliant. Dan, what's your favourite and least favourite FPL chip?
Wild card and triple captain.
Yeah, with a bullet, same. I just hate the triple captain one. There's too much stress.
Got to keep that simple. Wild card, triple captain.
So the next question is, Junkie, we will open up the Q&A after the questions, pal, yeah? So that's when I'll start inviting people to speak. It's not a lot today, but I appreciate, because obviously we've got 2 football games on at the moment. So I always knew it was going to be, we wouldn't get as many numbers as we normally would. So the next one is from Silver at the FPL Way. So that's Nathan, who is the co-founder of the FPL Way, and also the whiz behind the website and graphics that we have on our website, and really good guy. I've invited you to speak, Nate, because it's your question coming up. So yeah, join when you can. But Bennett, the question for you is, are you a man that takes tactical hits, or do you try to avoid that as much as possible?
So I do avoid hits where possible. I think historically in a regular season, I'd probably take maybe 4 or 5 hits all season. Just with effective planning, I never see much of a need to take a hit. But last season I took 10 hits, which they were mainly, I think, the tactical hits that Silver was talking about, and they were sort of related to the blank and double game weeks caused by COVID. So yeah, I'm much more open to hits if it means getting 11 players out or maximising the number of double game week players I have. Yeah, I'm not averse to hits. It's just in my experience, regular hits struggle to pay off. But yeah, those tactical hits, yeah, I'm not averse to those. I know a lot of us bought Ramsdale on wildcard, and we spoke about a lot of people spoke about you might not want a goalkeeper change until the next wildcard, which will come sort of game week 30. But I won't be averse to a goalkeeper change if even maybe for a hit if it comes to it. There's a big fixture swing for another team and a goalkeeper who's doing well. So yeah, I do like tactical hits. I don't take too many.
Okay. So we've had Arya just join now. So hey Arya, Arya Das. India's #1 last season, so that's absolutely phenomenal and a great guy, really top guy. Before I move on, guys, please make sure to follow @Dan, follow myself, Ray, the other Dan, the one who's the co-host, Silver as well, Fantasy Silver. We're all part of the FPL Way, our one-stop shop for everything fantasy football. Currently working on a few really exciting tools, but we also have an automated injuries and suspensions tool, so you can expect the Lukaku news to be on there by midnight tonight. And also on our website, please check out our affiliate with Fantasy Football Fix, where if you click on the banner there, you can get 65% off. So all the data you always see with our tweets and our threads, they all come from Fantasy Football Fix. So I personally, as a user before joining the FPL Way, highly advocate it. So 65% is not too bad whatsoever. So we'll move on to the next question, which is from Mike Halpin, my fellow gunner, and currently in the spaces as well. And he said, and good evening, Mike, would be interested to know Dan's take on effective ownership. Now, this is something I'm really interested in, Dan Bennett, to get your feedback, as has certainly been the catalyst for some lively debate on recent spaces. Every space, I can say.
Yeah, people love talking EO, don't they?
Yeah, big time. If you didn't know the EO players, would his team captaincy choices be different? Thank you, folded hands. So yeah, like a prayer.
Yeah.
EO.
So
your thoughts?
The only time I seek out EO numbers is after the game week deadline. Like I'll go check out live FPL. Or more recently, I've been using. I think Fix have introduced. Have you checked out that Insight Live feature, which is similar?
Yeah.
It provides a lot of EO numbers. So I'll go check it out after the game week deadline. See which players can give me a boost if they do well, and which players can hurt me that I don't own. But that's just from a point of view of like for the weekend, sort of knowing which players I can root for, who are going to give me a boost. I don't really take that information into my decision-making process during the week. So I try not to look at it, but in general, my team will be full of EO players, just because the team's usually quite template and template high EO. But yeah, I try not to let it influence my decisions. As I say, I only look at it while the game week's active and the players and so I can see which players I want to root for, basically.
Fantastic. So we just had Boona join for 1 minute to basically put the laughing emoji, as Manchester United are currently 2-0 down. No. So me, for one thing, I hope Ole stays in. Yeah, Dan, go on. Say something, Dan.
I'm not saying anything, mate. I'm not.
But I don't think I mentioned I'm a United fan, did I?
I've been seeing all these fucking notifications pop up. 1-0, 2-0, 4-0.
Oh, no.
Let's not say anything, Dan. Ollie out.
Yeah.
I say I'm
Bennett,
obviously, as I say, I don't watch a lot of football, so I'm a fan. I'm not an avid supporter, but
It's a good job you haven't watched United then.
I actually
So-
when Ronaldo joined, I became a United member so I could have the opportunity to try and buy some tickets to go and see him play. I've never seen him play, but yeah, I think I'll put that off for a little while longer.
excellent. So two brighter notes, two brighter times. So Nathan, good to have you on the board, pal. How are you, Nate?
I'm alright, mate. How's it going?
Very well. So Dan Bennett, this is Nathan or Silver at the FPL Way. He's the co-founder. So yeah, guys.
Hey Nathan.
Yeah, hi Dan. Nice to hear from you.
Thanks, mate.
Amazed from your stats, and it's nice to get a bit of an insight from your playing style. And one thing I was actually thinking all along was I felt I was actually a better manager when I wasn't watching football games. And I was like you, like on a Friday, Saturday night, I'd do my transfers, boom, and not look into any stats and anything. And I think it helped out a lot. And I think as I've progressed to get to know stats and everything else, it's just put me over analysing things and going with the flow of everyone else rather than going with your own gut feeling, which sometimes I think pays off a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. I was chatting to an old colleague who today, him and I were in the work mini league. We were always the sort of top two, and we had some good battles. And I was saying to him, this season in particular, I'm over analysing more than ever. But I'm enjoying it. We were speaking earlier. I'm enjoying more interacting with people and getting in people's DMs and chatting FPL, which I haven't done historically. So although I'm over analysing it, and my decisions so far this season haven't been fantastic, I'm enjoying that more. So
That's it.
It's weighing that up, isn't it?
It's all about the enjoyment factor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, I think probably the burning question everyone wants to hear, especially with Lukaku going off with an injury, who will be your captain this weekend?
Wow. I said earlier, I'm heavily fixtures oriented. So it was going to be Lukaku, but it sounds like that our decision might be made for us. If he's out, I think I probably will just go for Salah. The man's a machine. If we'd have all just perma-captained him, I think we'd all be better off than where we are right now in terms of captaincy points.
Yeah, I mean, I did work it out. I had a look. If I captain Salah every game week, rather than having having to pick a captain every week, I would have been 24 points better off if I just captain Salah. Set and forget.
Never look it up. Never look at what could have been.
I know, that's the worst thing you can do, right?
What's he on? 83 points. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Over 10
mad,
points.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've fallen a bit behind to what I normally am at this point in the season, and I am thinking about going a differential captain this game week, and especially with the news of Lukaku out, I was waiting to see what happened tonight. But I honestly think I will probably not go Salah. I'll probably go for Son.
That could be a good shout. I love owning Son, and as with like a lot of people, he was in my wild card for the majority of the fortnight leading up to it. But obviously we had the COVID false positive, or whatever it's called, debacle. So yeah, if you've got him, could be a good shout. You might be right actually. With Lukaku out, it might be a week to go to seek a differential captain. Maybe some people will be tempted by a Chelsea defender, maybe.
But could you imagine the EO of Salah now, Bennett? It's going to be insane.
Although, as I say, I try not to let that factor into my decision making,
but funny how effective ownership is.
But the question is, if Lukaku is out for a long period, who are you going to bring in?
I'm not prepared for this. Who saw a Lukaku injury coming?
Well,
Tony.
I can see a Vardy coming in. I can see a Vardy. You know, he's got Brentford, Arsenal, and Leeds. And the way I saw Brentford was attacking Chelsea, and fair play to them the second half they were brilliant, and they leave a lot of space behind. Now, if they can have the courage to attack Chelsea, and I think Vardy has a good chance of, getting in behind, getting some chances. And, I mean, like I said, the fixtures are looking pretty good for Leicester. Brentford, Arsenal and Leeds. And then when you get to 12, then they have Chelsea. Then you could look into Harry Kane. But, yeah, what's your quick thinking on that one?
Yeah, I don't mind that. He's obviously in fire form, isn't he? He's scoring every game. He's 6 out of 8 games. He's only blanked against West Ham and Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that. I have been planning to get at least one of Son or Kane in for 12. I was talking to Tom at Fix about a potential double up on Spurs. Obviously, depending on how they do at the next 3. Because they've got that run from 12, haven't they? Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich. So, yeah, I can't argue with that. We've all obviously got to give it a lot of thought the next couple of days. But, yeah, Vardy with a potential eye on moving to Kane in 12, that could be the play.
Brilliant. Oh, go on, Dan. Did you have another question?
No, I was just having a little sniff. No, it's all good.
If you really want to go differential, go for Patson Daka.
Oh, Nathan.
You know he's going to be on the bench.
Yeah, I know. He will be on the bench. But, oh, my God, I can't believe he scored 4 tonight. Incredible.
Is that your captain, Nathan?
Yeah, definitely. Set forget the rest of the season. Yeah, for sure.
Well, there's a lot of bench points, mate.
Maybe I should add him to my captaincy article now. Lukaku's,
I think you should. Yeah.
Oh, we need to adjust.
I think that's why I didn't want to release it today. Actually.
I'm not adjusting it. I'm just going to pretend it never happened. Okay. So Salah is an easy captain pick this week.
Yeah. No. But like all jokes aside, I think for me, like Vardy could be a good shout. I think Son's a good shout, and I think if he does well, then yeah. And I think he does perform well against good teams as well. And if he does do well against those teams, he's got an easy run of fixtures as well, so everyone will get on the bandwagon. So it's all about getting a player, I think, before everyone gets on the bandwagon. Remember like last season, Gundogan fired, and there were several other players like that. And then when you actually ended up getting him in, he did fuck all.
Oh, I just got some latest news, guys, and then we'll move on. From FPL Trophy, Mo. Werner out injured too. Apparently pulled his hamstring. So it's going to be a lot of fun who they're going to play. I might bring in Havertz.
Actually,
Bennett, what are you going to do?
That's good news for you, actually, Dan, because you've got Mount, isn't it?
Yeah, I planned this all along, mate.
I knew it was gonna. You knew 2 forwards are gonna get injured, and he'll play a striker now.
I absolutely. I knew Lukaku was getting really tired. I had a feeling he might pull an ankle injury. So yeah, and then hence why I had a good pick for Mount. Yeah.
Why can I picture you just smoking a cigar right now, laughing at it? So
yeah, with a glass of whiskey. Yeah. So Bennett, the 3 of us probably speak every other day, and this is how we are. Bennett, this is how we are. We just banter, chat shit, and just eventually get some work done. But let's move on. Move on. We got a couple more questions. Then we'll
come back to Lukaku.
Yeah,
we could probably talk about him. This is his replacement.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna DM Bennett. Don't worry. So Prakash Chetwani, who's also in a lot of spaces, he's not in this one because it's pretty late where he is. I think India. We already covered the journey during the initial phase, as was expected, really. So about the hashtag Elite64, Dan, did someone come to you, or how did that work?
Yeah, it was FPL General who set it up. I think he started it at the start of the 2017-18 season. I'm not sure why he did it. I just recall him asking for people to send in their histories and he selected 64 of the best. So yeah, I've managed to. I think that there's obviously 64 players in there. The top 50 stay in there each season. I've been fortunate enough to stay in there for I think it was 4 seasons so far, but it's getting tougher. He's also got, I think he's got like qualifier leagues, which you can enter for a chance to like be promoted into the Elite 64 league. So yeah, it's quite good. I do. That's probably one of the leagues I look to first, to see how I'm doing against those players, because if you're in the sort of the top half of the Elite 64 league, you're probably doing okay.
Fantastic. We kind of covered, your strategy of achieving top ranks and stuff, but I guess I'm going to kind of change his question slightly regarding what motivated you to join FPL. But I guess, what was your initial kind of expectation when you started playing? Was it just to have a little bit of fun? Because now it's all-encompassing, obsessive now.
So yeah, the guy who introduced me to it was in the chat, but he's just left. I worked with him, and he was the best man at my wedding. He introduced me to it when I joined the job that I currently do. Yeah, he's football mad. He's much more knowledgeable about football than me. But he introduced me to it. It was around December of 2007, I think it was, which I mentioned earlier, which is why my first rank of my history is 1 million. I didn't join till December that year. So yeah, he asked me to join, and we've had good banter since. So yeah, I didn't have any real expectations of it other than trying to beat him every year to start with. So yeah, but it has exploded so far since then, hasn't it? But yeah, he's the one who introduced me to it all those years ago.
Brilliant. I think we can go around the board with the 4 of us. So we've had Bennett's answer. So Nate, how did you get into FPL initially, and what was the motivation behind it?
Me? I started because I work for a digital agency, and basically a guy there said, he already did a mini league, but we did one between our work colleagues. But we did it so if you won out of the group of 6 of us that was in it, we just do quids in, and winner takes all each game week. But if you actually came last, you would have to basically be the tea bitch for the whole week, and for a day. And you have to make the tea rounds for the whole 12 people in our group. It's quite funny. I've done my fair share of fucking cups of teas during the time, but Jesus, it was a good laugh, good banter. And I just got addicted really since then. I think I'm 6 years on now playing it, and I love it.
Dan, to you, buddy. How did you get in? What was the motivation?
Football lads, football mates, and playing football, and just got involved with them. It was just very casual, and then started getting quite serious. And I was really finding the what's the word for it really? Just finding the love for it. I just absolutely love football. I love football managing strategy games, and I mean this season is my first season of really taking it seriously. So I'm really enjoying it. I mean, last season I at the FPL way started, and I've learned a lot actually from writing content, etc. That's how I did it, and I absolutely love it. I love it. I love the competitive side of it all.
That's brilliant. For me, it was down to a vote. So we played Dream Team for just a decade or 13 years, me and a couple of people. We play every single year in a mini league, and of course we got something riding on it. And then we said, but we always vote every single year, and we always have the 3 or 4 major ones. And for the first time, FPL won, which was in, I guess it would be 1819, or 1920. And I've been hooked ever since, kind of February of 2020, and then started to understand how to play the game properly. And yeah, it's all encompassing now. I absolutely love it. Love talking about it, doing spaces like this, meeting all these people. I mean, I met Dan and Nathan off FPL, so it's. I like to think it's a way of life now. But before we get to the final question, and then we'll open up the Q&A, please make sure to follow Dan, as in the co-host, who's the founder of the FPL Way. Make sure to also follow Fantasy Silver, aka Nathan, who's the co-founder and basically the front-end whiz for the website and the graphics and everything. Absolutely brilliant work. And myself, who's the operations for the FPL Way. Please make sure to follow Dan Bennett, really top guy, superb FPL manager. And hopefully we'll do something soon in the future, Dan, hint, hint. And also, please make sure to follow at the FPL Way, one-stop shop for everything FPL. We're really trying to get everything under one roof. So we're working on some really exciting tools at the moment. And also on there is a link to our affiliate, Fantasy Football Picks. And if you click and use the code there, you get 65% off. All of the information and stats that we use during our graphics or any threads or anything that we release is all from there. So I think I can speak for Dan and Nathan and say that we absolutely advocate it, including Dan Bennett as well, who is also associated as part of the Elite 11 managers. So we'll go to the final question after I did that little shtick, and it's from Blonde. Save the best till last. So with that overall history, I can't believe he ever has, but I have to ask, when playing FPL, what, if anything, makes you tilt? So kind of, go on edge a bit, Dan,
that's
or
a
Bennett.
good question. It's probably just selling a player and then that player immediately scores the game where you sell them. I absolutely hate that. There's a couple of examples that stick in my mind. One of them was selling Charlie Daniels, and then that week he scored an absolute screamer against Man City. I think it was 2017. I don't know if anybody remembers. I mean, it wasn't a big one. I mean, Charlie Daniels against Man City, I'd have benched him anyway, but selling him and then he goes and scores the best goal of his career. It's just, those sort of things can send me on tilt.
Fantastic. So we'll start to open up to the Q&A. So Bennett, so far, has it been all right?
Yes, thanks, Ray. I was pretty nervous chatting FPL, but I'd always knew I was in good hands.
Come on, man. It was a team effort. Everyone contributed. So we got Boona on as well. So guys, this is completely open Q&A now. So if you'd like to speak or ask a question, please request, and then we'll get you on. And as always, it's a hand-raising kind of decorum, just so everyone gets the opportunity to speak. So got Boona in now. Boona, it was great when you came in and did your 1,000 laughing emojis because, man, you were losing. But great to have you on, man. So if you got something to say, request. Fantastic. We got him. Also got Javid. Got Junkie. Oh, brilliant. Dan, you're bringing them in now. Bennett, you're bringing them all in. So we will start with Boona. Good evening, pal.
Good evening, mate. Cheers for having me. How you doing?
Fantastic, pal. Any question for Bennett, I imagine?
Yeah. Can I swear, please? I won't swear at anyone,
Absolutely.
I promise.
You promised to everyone else.
No, okay, so what the fuck do I do with Werner and Lukaku?
Oh no, Boona, do you have both?
I've got both, yeah. You can't make it up, can you,
mate.
to be honest. Don't get me wrong. I'm never adverse to a hit, so I don't mind. Do we think Jesus comes back in this weekend? I know Vardy's kind of a made up, like a perfect replacement for Lukaku. If they are both out, is Jesus an option, or do we need to wait and see?
Did you hear the last question I was asked about what makes me go on tilt? I always enjoy watching when you go on tilt. transfers. You make a good point, mate. I've got Mahrez at sort of a 1 week punt I had on wildcard, but surely Jesus comes back in this weekend on that right hand side.
I thought so. He didn't play midweek either, did he? So he's had a few, like 2 weeks off or something, or close to it.
I mean, we never know with Pep, do we? But
so I've got De Bruyne.
He's been playing well.
I've got De Bruyne already, so it would be doubling up, and then if I bring a City defender in, tripling up. But they seem to be the team to go for right now, especially with these injuries to Chelsea assets. There's no one really left there to go for apart from their defensive assets, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who do we go for Chelsea? They've got no other strikers, have they? It would be
Precisely.
Havertz, but
I wouldn't
surely that
trust
goal
any of
output.
those. I
Yeah,
wouldn't trust any of those midfielders who aren't the whole form versus fixture debate. They aren't in form. We haven't seen them do anything recently. So for me, they're a no-go. As much as I like the players like Mount.
yeah. We spoke a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Perhaps Vardy.
Yeah,
Vardy could be
Vardy's
the player.
probably a shoe-in for me this week. I think
Okay.
remember, I've got 2 players to replace.
Oh, you've got both. Oh no.
So I either go someone like Jesus, who's a massive punt with a P, or go somewhere cheaper like Tony and reserve the cash. I guess that's the option.
Yeah, I was discussed earlier. I'm not a punty manager at all. So yeah, the likes of Vardy and Tony, they appeal to me. Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Anyway, cheers for that, mate. I'll let someone else ask a question. I'm going to go back to listen mode. Cheers, guys.
Good luck.
Bruno, thanks as always, pal. Always. Guys, as always, please just stick up your hand if you've got something to say. But as we don't at the moment, we'll go to the first person who joined, which is Javid. Javid, good morning, my man. Oh, good evening. Sorry.
It's good evening for me. Hi, guys. Right, so I have a similar question to Rahul. My plan was to sell Ronaldo this week, probably go for Jimenez, Tony, Vardy, one out of those 3. And now that Werner and Lukaku is out, I'm thinking, should I just do nothing?
Hey, Javed. So who you got? You've got Ronaldo and Lukaku.
Ronaldo, Lukaku, Antonio, and I have Ben White who could come in for Lukaku, seeing that he's injured. So I'm thinking, roll the transfer and just do nothing at this point in time. Ronaldo was definitely going to be my transfer out this week, though.
Yeah,
but now he survives another game week.
I mean, yeah, I guess you have to keep him there. But do we expect Ronaldo to play at the weekend? I guess we might, but didn't I? Doesn't he? Sorry, let me get my words out. He doesn't regularly play 3 games a week, does he? 3 games in a week. I don't think he did that often for Juventus. So maybe Cavani gets this weekend. I'm not sure that's what you want to hear, but
it's a good point.
But then we're looking at Liverpool, right? So I don't know if that would factor into Ole's team selection.
Yeah, good point. It is Liverpool.
The problem is, and Dan, I know you and I have spoken about this, is when Ronaldo first joined, of course, as a football fan, I was delighted. But one thing I was so apprehensive about is it completely destroys Manchester United's shape and the fact that they want to press from the front because Ronaldo won't press. Not because maybe a little bit, it's the arrogance of pressing, but also, the age, he's not really, a guy who can run for all these minutes, just based on science and age. I mean, he's an incredible athlete. And I think it's actually being detrimental to the team itself, i.e. the likes of Greenwood, and of course Cavani, who presses absolutely beautifully from the front. So, Bennett, to be honest with you, and Dan, I'd like your take on this. I do think Ronaldo will start against Liverpool because it's very difficult to see you drop the top goal scorer as well when we think about it that way. And I think he's got 4 or 5 goals already. But Dan, maybe you could kind of add to my point.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good point. I mean, the last Champions League week, he got benched, didn't he? But I remember seeing Sir Alex Ferguson's quote, and I think he was talking to some UFC fighter, I can't remember his name now, and he was saying...
Khabib Nurmagomedov.
That's it. He said you should never bench your best players. And I definitely think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have saw that quote. But it's difficult because, like Ray said, with United bringing Ronaldo in, it really just changed the whole shape of United. And the only reason why we brought him in because of Manchester City come calling, and we didn't want him to go there. But I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I don't think he'd be benched. But personally, to set up with Liverpool, I would. And I think I would start like the likes of Cavani, who presses very well. But then I do think United will play a back 5 and look on the counter.
I think that's a fair point. Before we go on to Junkie and Blonde, please request again because you kind of dropped out and I know you had your hand up. Nathan, what are your thoughts on Ronaldo taking him out, and who would you bring in? So Javid already has Lukaku and is it Tony Javid?
I have Antonio, Lukaku, and Ronaldo. And initially,
Okay,
I was going to transfer out Ronaldo.
okay. So Nate, what would you do? Like Lukaku out for who? Vardy or?
I actually have the same three forwards, mate. I've got Antonio, Lukaku, and Ronaldo. I'm going to keep faith in Ronaldo. I think he's a guy that will score against bigger teams. He loves the challenge. If obviously with Lukaku, if he's out, I would do Lukaku to Vardy. I mean, I'm pretty confident that's what I'm going to do anyway.
Hello.
Excellent. Singh, could you please mute, bud, and just put your hand up, and then we'll get to you. Thank you. Junkie, go ahead, pal.
I was the first one here in the pre-discussion. I went to see the United match, and I'm back, and they're still trailing 2 goals. On the Ronaldo question, yes, he will start because Ole cannot afford to even bench him, let alone, So, having said that, Cavani is warming up to come up. Sorry. Okay. So, yes, Ronaldo, I would get rid of him. I'd get Vardy. And I had a question to Dan before I went to see the match, whether I should get in Son or Vardy on my wild card. And with the injury to Lukaku, I've already made the transfer. I moved Lukaku out and got Vardy. And I already had Son in the team.
Would you not get rid of Lukaku instead of
I just did.
Ronaldo there?
No, I've sold Ronaldo on the wild card already.
Okay.
I was setting up a team for this coming game week, right? And I had Lukaku, and I was wondering whether I should downgrade Lukaku to somebody and get a double defense, City defense, or double Chelsea defense. But so the defense I still need to sort out. So I got rid of Ronaldo to get in Son, but now that Lukaku is injured, I've got him out and taken Vardy, and so I've got Son and Vardy as well. So I was at 140k, just fell to 670k in 4 game weeks. So I'm trying to do something different. So let's see. I'm trying to get a few differentials.
I'm with you there, mate, and I'm with you with the Son pick. I think he's quality pick. And I'm really rooting for him. Like, he's honestly on top tier list for me for captaincy this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and we were talking about will Ole bench Ronaldo. He's not, and the way they're playing against Atlanta today, he's definitely going to go with 5 at the back, and I won't be surprised if he starts Lukaku and Cavani up front. And the way Bruno's playing, I think he can be dropped for a game, and Pogba can play in the number 10. So if there are any, I mean, I don't think there are any Bruno owners, but the way he's been contributing to the game for the past few game weeks, if I won't get any Manchester United player as of now.
Cool, Junkie. Thanks as always. Let's go to Sing FC. Good evening, buddy. How are you? And Junkie, could you mute please, pal?
Sorry.
Yeah, Sing FC. Hey, man. You all right?
Hello.
Hi.
Who would you think is the best captain for Game Week 9?
Mr. Bennett, that's for you.
So the players I have are Vardy, I have De Bruyne, I have Salah.
Okay. Dan Bennett, what are your thoughts on that?
I was on. We spoke about form versus fixtures earlier, and I was on Lukaku, but I guess that's out the window now. I think out of Salah, De Bruyne, Vardy, personally, I think I'll go Salah. It's just the form of his life. United are looking awful, so I can see that. Yeah. I can see Liverpool scoring. I think I saw something on Twitter earlier about Liverpool have scored 3 goals in each of their last 7 or 8 away games, something like that.
Well, I would like to let you know you are talking to a United person who does agree with you.
He's also a United person.
Pressing at the minute. So yeah, I think it'd be Salah for me. But yeah, if Lukaku is confirmed out, I think I might make the move to Vardy. Just an initial reaction, but obviously we've got to wait for the presser to see what the situation really is.
And a bit of an off topic. Who's going to win the league?
I'll go City personally. Let's go round table. Everyone can say who they think. So I'm going to go Man City next.
Yeah, I think I'd go City too.
Chelsea.
City.
Hard to bet. Feeling really bad, but Liverpool. United
Chelsea all the way.
all the way to the second spot. Yeah, up behind Liverpool.
Dan, listen.
Man United.
That's a good one.
Sometimes, guys, sometimes jokes just write themselves.
They really do, don't they? No, in all honesty, I can see it being a battle between City and Liverpool again.
I feel like Chelsea actually wouldn't win the league. I feel like it will be Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it's great to, transition to the other, something else I was saying is a really good question. But I think I really see it as a 3-horse race, and I can certainly see each of the teams winning the league. I think they got the experience, they got the great managers, and they got the great players. And Manchester United, I feel, have great players, but don't have the manager.
Yeah,
so,
the manager needs to be sacked.
They've got a manager.
I hope not.
Sorry.
No. I'd like him to stay.
Exactly. They've got a manager who will make sure they don't.
Don't be like that, Ray.
Why? For the opposition.
Don't be like that.
I'm an Arsenal fan, man. Come on.
No, that's all right.
Some jokes write themselves there as well. So just had Nimfria join as well. Hey Nim, good evening. I think, guys, we're going to kind of get to maybe the last 10 minutes now. So if you have some quick fire questions, then please go ahead. I'd really appreciate. I'm more than welcome for people to ask questions. So Nim, please request to speak if you've got a question for Dan Bennett. And but I got one for you, Dan. I got one for you. So
sorry, Rashford just scored, by the way.
Go ahead.
You can go with it.
Oh, terrible! Not liking that. I think we need to remove Junkie. No, just kidding. Dan Bennett, I got one for you, pal. So this is the perfect example of being reactive or kind of just sitting on it for a minute before you make a decision, and that kind of transitions to my question of. I don't like to make early transfers because I don't really pay too much attention to value because I always try and leave like 0.5 in the bank to be agile when I need to be. And this is a great example. Okay, if I get rid of Lukaku, I'm only going to go down really, but in regards to value. But do you ever make early transfers or do you wait until the last minute? What's your strategy around that?
It's a good question. I don't mind early transfers, but only early in the season. I do like to eke out those 0.1s, even more so on maybe not so much players rising, but players falling. Obviously, they fall, you lose the whole 0.1. So yeah, I'm not averse to early transfers earlier in the season. Certainly, historically, I used to do it a lot more. I guess these days, the last season or two with COVID, etc., it does help to wait as long as possible these days. But if money's tight, I'm not averse to it. But now I've played the wild card, I think I will be a little more patient. Wait for those press conferences and wait till Saturday morning most weeks.
Brilliant. Nate, did you want to add to that because you kind of unmuted?
I was just going to say, I actually tend to always follow that exact same strategy at the start of the season. I'm always a player that will make the transfers very early on and get the price increase very early on, like say the first 6 game weeks. Then after that, I would literally do the transfers deadline day. Just because it's nice to make value very early on, and I think it sets you up for the season. I know you're against it, Ray, but
yeah,
it does work.
I think in those first few weeks as well, there's a lot more engaged managers. There's lots of bandwagons. You can make quite a bit of money.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's always a strategy I tend to follow. I didn't do it this season, and I think it's affected me, really. Stick to what you know. That's the best way going forward.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Good evening, Nimfria. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Manchester United are losing, so But did you have any question? I'm sure it's not for me. So did you have any question at all?
Yeah, hi Dan, I'm a massive fan of yours. I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts were now on, I'm sure you guys have already discussed it, but I'm in a situation where I was already struggling with my team in terms of who to bench and who to play this week. And I was going to get Chilwell in to double up on Chelsea in defence. Do you think that should still be the plan now that I have Lukaku out, or would you be considering moving to somebody like Vardy, Jimenez, or Tony potentially, or maybe even a Jota to Havertz punt?
Hey Nim, big fan of your content. Nice to speak to you. Yeah, it's really thrown a spanner in the works, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
But as you say, a lot of us had some benching headaches going into this game week anyway. So perhaps we don't need to react immediately. I'd also considered going for Chilwell. I know I've just played the wild card, but I had looked at it because he just looks fantastic. I've already got James. I was thinking a James Chilwell double up has huge upside. But I think initial reaction after the Lukaku news, I'm going to park that for now. I do like the Vardy play. I can't remember who we had on earlier, but he made the case for Lukaku to Vardy for 3 weeks and see how Spurs are doing, and then maybe jump on Kane in game week 12 for their. I think Spurs have 4 fantastic fixtures from game week 12. So that could be the play. I don't mind Tony though. I've already got Mbomo, but
yeah, same. Yeah. Jorginho's just scored another penalty. I think it was Rudiger that went down for it. So I have Rudiger already, so I do have some Chelsea cover in defence. But yeah, it was just it's kind of thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, if I'm honest. This whole Lukaku thing.
It's tricky. You're gonna have to do another updates on your
yeah.
game week 9 team selection again after the video earlier.
Well, thankfully, my 5 things with Fergie this week, whilst there were a couple of specific things like Lukaku versus Vardy and things, we did go a bit more out there with other bits and pieces. So hopefully there's still enough content within that video that we recorded today to help people out.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look forward to watching that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for answering, buddy.
Thanks. Good luck for the game week.
You too.
Right, guys, kind of got to the last few minutes now, and got Abdul back in. So Abdul invited you to speak, pal, if you can. I don't know if Dan, maybe you had a question at all for Mr. Bennett at all?
We've answered. Okay, let me have a look at my notes.
Yeah, you have grilled me, Ray.
Can you hear my papers?
He's not even wrote anything down.
I have. Let me just find the right one.
He's just going for the newspaper.
Oh, page 3, found it.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's it. Right. So I write captaincies articles. So what do you go for when you look to pick for your captaincies?
So not a very sexy answer, but yeah, big hitter, playing one of the smaller teams who let in a lot of XG. Ideally, the captain playing at home. All the boring rules, really. I find if you follow those throughout the whole season and be strict with them, you can you'll be right up there. But I guess we should all just perma captain Salah, hey?
Yeah, might as well. And what about stats? What do you look for stats wise? What do you target, especially captaincies as well?
So I don't go out seeking many stats myself. The only time I do look at the stats myself is on Fantasy Fix when I look at the player heat maps, and under there they've got the range of stats, and I'll do that when I'm torn between 2 players. But I generally just get my stats secondhand from all the content that I read and watch. So yeah, nothing in particular. Another content creator I like watching these days is FPL Raptor. He's got some good content. He's got some
very interesting
good videos and stats. So yeah, no stats in particular. Just whatever's presented to me usually.
Well, you have to have a little look at my one, mate. You know, it's going to be quite simple because it was just Lukaku and Salah. So
I'll be sure to check that out.
But just pretend that Lukaku is not injured. And
shall I just edit the whole thing, Dan, and just put?
Oh, please, Ray. Okay. You know, I pay you big bucks for this. Please, mate.
Oh yeah. Before Nathan, maybe you can add something to it, but just give it a sec. After that, I think we'll go to Junkie, and if Abdul has anything to say, we'll go with that, and then we'll wrap it up. So, Nate, anything you wanted to add, really, Bud, regarding captaincy or what you?
I was just laughing at the fact that Dad's wrote a whole article about Lukaku, and then it's all gone tits up. Other than that, yeah, that's about it, really. I just found that funny. But
1,080 words that I can just chop in half now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, God. You should have posted it yesterday.
Okay, brilliant. Junkie will go to you, and then Abdul will go to you if you got a minute. So, Junkie, go ahead.
So I saw FPL Highness in the space. So I was with him on one of the spaces a few days back. So he's playing his first season in FPL this season, and last game week he was 22nd in the world. So shout out to them. Shout out to him. He's doing an excellent job. So whatever you're doing, keep it up, my man. And the other one was, it actually wasn't FPL wise. It's just that when Dan was flipping the pages, so I live in India, right? So I was on one of these spaces a couple of days back, and I was writing notes down, and I then realized it was actually in my office diary. So the next day when I was reading out some stats for my work, I actually ended up saying, so what do you do about Lukaku? And I'm like, sorry. So that's just something that was funny, and so just thought I'll share. Over to you, Abdul. Waiting to hear what do you have to say.
Hi guys. Sorry I wasn't able to listen in from the start. I've been busy with the kids and then watching the football and that, so I've been dipping in and out. But I did hear Dan's answer to my question, which was good and reassuring that we're kind of playing a very similar way. So I did kind of think that you play that way, Dan, like with mostly like stats and fixtures and that. So yeah, from what I've listened in, it's been good. But yeah, I've just been like just catching up on the football now, and bloody Lukaku injured and Werner injured. It's madness, isn't it? Yeah,
FPL never fails to surprise us, does it?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with Lukaku. I think initial thoughts I'll probably bench him because I've got a benching headache this week anyway, and see how serious his injury is really. But
yeah, that's a good point. If he is back for game week 10, Newcastle away, Burnley home, maybe we hold. I don't know. We've got a lot of decisions to make, haven't we?
Yeah. I know. It's just so much uncertainty. I mean, I doubt we're going to get anything concrete from Tuchel about the length of Lukaku's injury. So yeah, I guess if you've got a good bench, then you could probably save there. But it is annoying because it's the best fixture of the season, really, for Lukaku and for Chelsea. But yeah, at least it sorts that captaincy dilemma out.
Are you definitely going Salah, do you think, if Lukaku's out?
I think so. I don't think there's any really other options. They're not in my team anyway. I mean, I was tempted to go like Lukaku to Tony because I was planning that move next game week anyway. But even if I do that somehow, I won't captain him. So yeah, I think it's got to be Salah. What about you? What about you, Dan? What are you thinking? You've got Lukaku and Salah as well, don't you?
Yeah, I think I'll keep it simple and go for Salah. Crazy form, and United are in poor form. So,
yeah.
Even though I'm sure they'll try and raise their levels, but it doesn't seem like they're capable of it right now.
Yeah, I think they'll go into that game really defensive. Like Ole does that in the big games. He goes really in defensive. But I think Liverpool are just playing too good right now. I don't think they're going to be able to hold them back. So yeah, I think it's the main man Salah again for me this weekend.
Brilliant, Abdul. Cheers, man. Yeah, Salah's seeming a bit more obvious now, it seems. But Sting, man, you've come back in. So is there something you want to ask, my man? Sting FC, you're muted. Okay. Is there anyone?
Hello?
Unfortunately, a few people. Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, go ahead.
So do you think getting in Marcus Rashford is a bit of a not like premium option, not cheap option? Maybe getting in Marcus Rashford when United's fixtures start to get easier and De Bruyne start to get harder, and then maybe going from a bit of a cheap option like Dennis for striker to someone like Antonio or Calvert-Lewin when Calvert-Lewin's back.
Dan Bennett, go ahead, Pat.
So
Yeah,
I think for United assets, I think the earliest I'd look at those again is probably game week 14.
Yeah, because that's when the fixtures start to lighten up again.
Yeah, so I guess we see what transpires at United over the next 5 game weeks.
What about Ronaldo for United? Is he still overlooking as well?
Yeah, I think it's just a wait and see. Hopefully we've got a clearer picture come game week 14 of who would be the best player to go for. But yeah, Rashford could be the one come game week 14.
Or potentially Son for game week 11.
Yeah,
because
I really rate Son.
If
I think I'll have him
anyone
soon.
for Tottenham, Kane seems a bit expensive at 12.1 for premium option, so Son is an easier player to fit in.
Definitely. There was a lot of talk about that premium, wasn't there? But Son's just that slightly easier to get in. I was all set on having him in wildcard, but the false positive test put a spanner in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Son. He'll be coming in soon for me.
Definitely me too.
How much of a tease was that, by the way, guys? Bloody Son. I was tempted to have him on the wild card, and then he gets a positive false fault.
Yeah.
Let's just say those dents on the table were an accident. I swear.
Yeah, just one of those things, unfortunately.
Cheers.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Cheers.
Please go ahead, Dan. Yeah, no worries, Singh. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Singh.
Really, really good question.
I was just thinking, right, Tuchel saying about Lukaku, he's tired, he's mentally tired, all that ball bags, and he needs a rest, and he plays him tonight. I mean, why didn't he just rest him? I just don't understand it, and now he's injured.
Yeah. To be honest, I was all set on captaining him, but because he's due a rest and everything, I didn't expect him to play tonight, and then I thought if he's playing tonight, I'm not going to captain him.
But it makes sense for him not to play.
It would have done, yeah, but it's stupid. And he didn't need to play because it's against a shit team.
Exactly, and now he's injured now, so Tuchel's just eating his words.
But at least it answers a lot of FPL problems, I guess. Yeah. That's the only benefit that comes from it.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I think Tuchel's words were a bit... maybe he was trying to stick up for Lukaku. I don't know if he was kind of really serious about all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I've not actually heard the press conference. I've just seen the quotes. I think you get a lot more context when you actually watch it, see the question. So, yeah, I'm not sure. But, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? He's injured now, so...
It is, and then, there's other good value players out there which we can spread the funds down. Like we can go to Tony, and then you could upgrade to KDB, or you can upgrade to Son. There's good players around now, isn't there? Vardy. So it's not a massive loss, but it'd be interesting to see how his injury is for the long term.
Yeah, brilliant. But Nim, before we go to you, some absolutely fantastic questions. Dan Bennett, you've been very patient with me. I know I was annoying you a lot before this as well, but really appreciate you stepping on. And before we get to Nimpria's question, I think one thing that I always advocate in spaces is inclusion, and there's no kind of hierarchy of power or followers. Apologies, guys. I don't give a shit how many followers someone has. If they're a quality individual, that's what matters. The likes of Dan, all the way to what Singh was saying, all the way to Junkie, Abdul, who I've spoken before, Nimfria, Blonde, Mike, all these people, Mo, who can't get in at the moment, and we're trying to work out why the hell he can't. It's all about inclusion and respect, and that's the idea. And those are the kind of people we want to associate ourselves with at the FPL way. And I'm sure I reverberate that around everyone who's in the space at the moment. I really appreciate it. It topped out at about 52, which is good for Champions League night. So, Nimfria, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask Abdul. He said that he was considering potentially dropping Lukaku to Tony a week early. Do you already have Mbeumo, buddy, or would that be your way into Brentford?
Yeah, I do already have Mbeumo. I got him in last week in the wild card, and yeah, but I really don't mind the double up. During these great fixtures for Brentford. So yeah, I mean, Tony was going to be my transfer in for Armstrong next week. So yeah, I've just contemplated getting Tony in this week, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just stick to doing that next week. But yeah, I've got Mbeumo, and I'll be having the double up soon.
So what do you think you'll do with Lukaku if he is out more than 1 week?
I don't know. I think if he's out more than 1 week, potentially Vardy or potentially down to another mid-priced striker like I could even do if he's out for, I'd say, more than 2 weeks. I think him down to Tony, and then bringing in somebody like Son or potentially even KDB, for Foden. But most likely Son. I think will probably be the move.
Okay, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Abdul, I think it's the missus, man. She's trying to get hold of you. Go on, Abdul.
No, I was just I should always put my phone on silent when when I've got.
That's everyone saying what to do with Lukaku, pal. Everyone's talking. So before we wrap it up, Sting, please, with your last question, my man, and then we'll wrap it up.
Is it worth having Gray or Townsend still?
Who are you asking, pal?
Anyone. I just want to see everyone's views, to be honest.
Yeah, Junkie, you go ahead. Then we could maybe put it to Dan.
Sorry, no, I haven't owned either of them.
Gray or Townsend. Is it worth still having Gray or Townsend?
Shall I jump in?
So,
do you
go
want
on.
to go, Junkie?
No, I was just saying I haven't owned either of them. But out of the two, I think Gray has better potential than.
No, I mean, is it still worth owning one of the two?
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd go with Gray over Townsend. Yeah, for a couple of more game weeks before
fixtures start.
Yeah, and it depends on how your structure is and if you need funds somewhere else, right?
I believe it's 2 premium, not 1 4.5, a Saka and a Rafinha.
Yeah, so I think you can move him out if you want to get somebody, if you want to change the team structure and get, change the formation maybe. So you can move him down to a 4.5 and then use that money to upgrade either a defender or, like Abdul was saying, if you want to get Tony for as a third striker.
Tony, and could get Mbeumo as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree on that, mate. I watched Everton last week and I thought they weren't great going forward. And I'm hearing DCL is out for a longer period as well.
Yeah, it's DCL and Richarlison.
So I just think I think you just said about Mbeumo. I think that's a perfect player to switch over.
Yeah, because he's playing in strike and he's hit the woodwork quite a few times.
Yeah, that's it. He was very impressive against Chelsea. Very unlucky not to get on the score sheet.
Everyone was for Brentford.
The answer to that, I think Gray. I think they've had their moment, and I think they're just going to have a bit of a dry spell, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Singh, with DCL being out injured, I feel like if you have Gray or is it Townsend, I'd probably keep one of them now because I was interested in what the
just
dynamic.
Jumping in there. I actually considered one of them for Jota this week.
Ooh,
yeah, because I was interested on what the dynamic would be if DCL were to return, or who would be sacrificed in air quotes. But with DCL out injured longer, I'd keep, man, because look how DCL and Gray have been performing. They've been fantastic on the eye test, and the statistics seem to back that up.
Is that something to do maybe with the other players being like Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin actually being there? And now that the core is injured as well.
Or not being there.
And now that the core is injured as well.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be an interesting one because I wonder if they'll still play a double pivot. It could be Andre Gomez with Allen, but we'll see. But Junkie, go ahead, pal.
2-2. Sorry.
But just scored 2-2. Just to let
Maguire scored, yeah.
you. Yeah. I hope you.
This is terrible. What a terrible way to
Do
end
not
the
be like
space.
that,
Man,
Ray.
you are
Do
not
not be
beating
like
us.
that.
But you just said inclusion, right? Sometime back, so you're okay with everything. So this should
It
Yeah, but I mean,
would have been better.
exclusion of communication.
Would have been better if it
Well,
was
they're
a
not
Harry
good.
Maguire own goal, right?
Don't be like that, Nave.
No.
I don't like that we have like 7 people that are Man U fans now as speakers.
bro, Ray, we have to stick together, man.
And Nimfria, man. Nimfria's a gunner as
Exactly,
well.
yeah, we have to stick together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
got to. Who scored the first United goal? I missed that.
Rashford.
it was
Rashford.
Rashford.
Wow.
Cut inside, and shot right foot to right corner.
Ah, nice.
He also got subbed off in the 70th minute. I think he picked up a slight knock, but nothing to be worried about, though.
When? He didn't start the last 2 games.
No, right now in the game against Atlanta, he got subbed in the 60th.
He didn't start.
Yeah, Sancho came on for him, 73rd minute.
No, he's talking about the Liverpool game, Jota.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was talking about Rashford.
He was talking
He's
about the
talking
Man
about
United
Rashford.
game.
Ah,
Yeah, he was talking about the Man
Oh,
United game.
Come
yeah.
on, Ray.
Jesus
We're talking about
Christ.
Yeah.
Man United Atlanta game. Rashford scored the first goal. Came off in the 65th minute because he kind of got a small knock. But not that it's a threat for us, because I don't think anybody has us in his FPL team right now or is planning to get him.
Not yet, but who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
But guys, I think we'll hit it on the head there, man. First of all, I'd like to thank Dan and Nathan for just being patient with me all the time. They brought me into at the FPL way in July, and it's been an awesome 3 months for myself anyway. And then eventually put me up as part of the ops. So first of all, I owe a lot of credit to the 2 of them. They're very patient with me, and it's great to converse with them all the time. I'd also really like to say thanks from the FPL way to Dan Bennett. Dan, I think you've been brilliant. There were like 12 questions that you had, and then an additional 12, I think, during this space. So we really appreciate that you joined, pal, because I know you were saying you were a bit nervous, but you just absolutely smashed it out the park. And one thing I want to say, guys, is please make sure to follow Dan, because he's a really wonderful guy, and and that is more important than anything around FPL rank. Really top guy. I heard great things about him beforehand, and I think you far exceeded that, Dan. So, did you enjoy yourself?
I did.
Buddy?
Thank you so much for having me, Ray. Yeah, you put me at ease. As you said, I was nervous. I saw the questions rolling in it earlier, so I knocked off work an hour earlier and 5 pages worth of notes. So I had some half decent answers. But yeah, thank you for having me. You put me at ease, and looking forward to doing more spaces.
100%. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When we do spaces, if I do it or I join it, you usually join as well, but you don't speak. So hopefully now you'll get in there and start spouting your brilliance. Also appreciate all the people who ask questions, from Javed to Singh, who's left now. Abdul Nim, always great to liaise with you guys. Lama, great guy. Junkie, great guy. Fledgling, please let's just try and follow each other and grow the community, because that's what's most important. Bez, Blonde, Mike, just really great people. So before I kind of shut it down, Nathan, anything to add, Val?
I don't know what to say. All I'm going to say is I've already decided. I'm going to go bold, and I'm going to captain Son this game week. End off. I know it's safe to go for Salah, but no.
Oh,
If
loving
you're
the bat
chasing
shizzle,
rank,
Nathan. Loving the bat shizzle, buddy.
I thought I'd throw this as the last thing, just so we had to talk about it even more.
No, please.
No, but I'm honestly considering it. I've been in a shit house because I wildcarded game week 4, and I don't even know why I did it. So now I'm thinking bold and moving forward.
He's still going on about
there.
his wild card.
I am. I'm not emotionally recovered
yet.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever will, mate.
So what you're
honestly,
saying is we should all stay away from Sun.
No.
Brilliant, Nate.
But yeah,
Thanks, man.
yeah.
Thanks. That's why we pay him the big bucks, guys. That's why we pay him the big bucks. Dan, mate, anything to add to that? As in Dan, listen.
It's Lisson. Lisson.
It's
It's French.
Sorry.
Just put that out. Just going to throw that
Lisson,
French
okay.
out there. No, look,
Très bien.
I don't
Très bien.
speak French.
Okay.
Look, I just want to say thank you for everybody for joining. Nymphaea, Abdul, and Lamar, and Dan Bennett, mate. Again, like I said, your record is just fantastic. You deserve a lot of credit, and I will be DMing you soon. This season.
You, Dan. Look forward to that.
So thank you, mate, and we look forward to hearing you again.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Great guy, and it's been a wicked spaces. Much appreciated, and I much appreciate everyone joining. Been fantastic.
Fantastic, guys. So have a wonderful evening. Let's hope the scores stay the same.
And Man United just scored. Ronaldo 3-2.
They did 3-2. Yeah.
That's naughty. That's naughty. That's a nice way to leave
Have a
the
nice
space.
night, Ray.
It's been the worst evening this week.
You jinxed
now
it,
for me.
mate. You jinxed it.
It's a Man United rain goal.
Listen, as long as everyone is happy, then I guess I'll be happy. But to drop this subject, mute yourself before I go crazy.
No, I was just thinking,
guys.
I was just thinking with Salah, everybody's captaining Salah, and the way United came back in the second half, I would worry a little. But then, with EO, I would think even I would go with Salah. But, it always puts it out in our mind whether you should or not.
It's a Shaw assist as well. That man, he's trolled me so much.
Oh my God, I hate Shaw. Shaw, God, hate him.
For sure.
For sure, yeah.
Got him. Right, guys. So please make sure also to follow at the FPL Way. The one-stop shop. Good. Go on.
I'm just going to say, unfollow Shaw if you follow him on Twitter. He's a prick.
Don't be like that, Nath. You're being very rude. I don't like this. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow.
Guys. We have a reputation to...
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Disciplinary. I'm going to give him a disciplinary.
I forgot we still have people listening, sorry.
Yeah, like 52. Right, guys. Last thing, please make sure to follow Dan. Make sure to follow Dan Bennett. Make sure to follow Silver. Please follow myself, Ray_Cure. And of course, please follow most importantly at the FPL Way, your one-stop shop for everything FPL, and also our affiliate partners in there, Fantasy Football Fix. If you use the code there, you get 65% off. All the data that we use, all the stats, all the graphics, everything, we pretty much owe to them. So we absolutely advocate using their data. So guys, thank you so much once again. Have a great evening, and we'll be looking to do one every week. So Dan and Nathan, we need to shortlist who we want next. And Dan Bennett, thanks so much again, man, and we'll speak soon. So Dan, Nate, bye from me.
Cheers, Dan. You've been a massive pleasure.
Thanks, everyone. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks,
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Take care.
Good evening. Bye.